Hey guys, Effie here. Today I'm going to make this holiday card using our new Wonderland print set. Now for today I'm just going to be using the individual floral elements that come with this bundle. So I'm going to start off by stamping the leaf cluster in our bright emerald dye ink. And when you stamp these leaves, there's this cluster of three that you want facing upwards or pointing upwards. That's how you want to stamp it. And next, when you stamp this poinsettia, there's this divot in the center of the little cluster within the poinsettia. And you want to make sure that this divot faces to the right. And if you position your stamps like so, they're just going to layer really beautifully. They'll match up and you won't have a problem stamping. I stamped about 4 to 5 of these poinsettia and leaf clusters. After I stamped those, I set those aside and took this speckled stamp from our new holiday chic stamp set, and I just repeatedly stamped it onto an A2 size card panel with our crystal pewter dye ink, which is a nice soft gray dye ink. So I'm creating this beautiful subtle speckled background pattern. Next, I'm going to take our Orchid crushed die ink and just stamp a few of these berry clusters on some pre-made die cuts that I cut with my electric cutting machine. I don't have the dies right now, but at the time of all pre-order shipping, they will be available. Next, I stamped some berry clusters using our Orchid Crush and Hot Tourmaline dye inks. After I've stamped about 4 or 5 of those berry clusters, I'm going to stamp some holly leaf clusters, and I'm using our Hot Tourmaline and Soft Amethyst dye inks. Once I finish up with these clusters, all of the stamping for this project is complete. Now I'm going to take the first and third largest dies from our double stitch rectangles large die collection. The largest die will add stitching to the edges of my speckled panel, and then the third largest die will cut out a smaller stitched panel. Next, I'm just going to pop up that smaller white panel right onto the speckled panel using some dimensional foam tape. I made sure not to put too much foam tape behind that white panel because I'm going to stick some of my clusters behind the side edges. And if you have foam tape that's too close under the edge, you won't be able to nestle any of the clusters under there. Now I'm just going to start arranging all of my floral elements using single foam squares. And for these clusters, I just add one single foam square behind each element because the same warning applies when arranging these floral clusters. If you have too much foam tape behind your cluster and you won't be able to add others under it or next to it or whatnot. So a single foam square will work, and then this will give you some extra leeway as you're tucking and nestling other elements behind the ones that you're working with. And these are just some scrapbook adhesive 1/4 inch foam squares that I'm using. So once my floral arrangements are complete, I'm going to take the Merry Christmas word dies from our holiday word die collection, and I'm going to die cut these using some of our silver foil adhesive paper. Before I run the dies through my die cutting machine, I created my own silver foil cardstock by adhering the paper onto some cardstock, and then I ran the dies through my die cutting machine. After I carefully peeled off the dies and popped out the die cuts, I just used some liquid adhesive to mount my word die cuts onto my project. I started with the Christmas die cut first, and I applied some liquid adhesive to the bottom portion of the die cut, and then I glued that right onto the top portion of the floral clusters. For the Mary die cut, I applied little dots of glue to the entire word die cut and just mounted that right onto the project. After it was on, I just added a little bit of glue to the edges to make sure that the entire die cut was adhered. Then I just added some additional foam tape behind that white stitched panel to make sure that it was sufficiently supported and that there was no sagging occurring. Lastly, I'm just going to embellish my card using our silver dewdrops and silver holographic sequins. I'm using a pick-me-up stick or a pickup stick to apply the dewdrops and some tweezers for the sequins, and I'm just using some Ranger Multi-Matte Medium to adhere the embellishments on. And all that's left to do is mounting this onto a card base, and my card is complete. I hope you all enjoyed today's video and project. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because I update it on a weekly basis. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.